Hey friends, welcome back. I have spent the morning out in the rain, literally mud up to my knees, and I'm over it. I have showered, I'm back in my office, and I'm getting a little bit of work done. And I got a really interesting email. I got an email from one of my vendors, and they said, hey, we're up for this award with the National Garden Bureau. Will you vote for us? And I was like, what the heck is the National Garden Bureau? So I followed the link, I went to the website, and what I found was the 2025 Green Thumb Award for the National Garden Bureau. This is super duper fun. There's a bunch of new varieties that have come on the market, and I thought it would be fun for you to come along and see what I am voting for and my top picks for these People's Choice Green Thumb Award. I'm going to pop you into my computer and we're going to go category by category. And I think it's going to be really fun. I've only taken a cursory glance and then I was like, I can't look anymore. I want to save it for you guys. Okay, so let's pop into category number one. They've got a category for annuals. Okay, so the only bummer about this is the last day to vote is today, December 17th. So this will be out tomorrow, so you can't vote. However, you can use this to arm yourself at the garden center come springtime. So what's really fun about annuals is, I play with them, I love them, and there's some just real classics in here. There's an ageratum. We have two different caliber koas here. Okay, we have this Cana, the Canova Gold Leopard. I will tell you right now, I saw this thing at Ravenna Gardens in the springtime, and I was actually completely blown away by it. I mean, honestly, the speckling on these petals, it looks fake. It looks completely fake. Cosmo Seashell Red. Okay, I've actually grown many varieties of Cosmo seashells, but none in this deeper color. Dahlia Black Forest Ruby. Dianthus Capitaine Magnifica. Dianthus Dart. Okay, that is actually really cute. Diplodania Sun Parasol. Okay, that is also very cute. The Geranium Falcon series. Okay, have not played with any of those. Geranium Glory Days Red Orange Bicolor. That is fabulous. Mandevilla. You guys, jury's out for me on Mandevilla. I don't know if it's a good plant match for me. Marigold. Mango Tango Nasturtium Baby Rose. I'm obsessed with a nasturtium. Some awesome ornamental kales. Petunia. Ooh, navy velour. Okay. Petunia Shake Raspberry. That is gorgeous. Then we've got like a classic red. Oh my gosh, the list keeps going. A portulaca. That portulaca doesn't look like anything I've ever seen before. That is very cool. We've got a snapdragon. That actually reminds me of the Madame Butterfly series that I've grown for years and years. We have the Sunfinity Double Yellow. Okay, and then rounding it off with a bunch of vincas and a zinnia. Here is what I am thinking. I'm obsessed with a vinca. These hardier vincas, I think they are fantastic. So those are pretty good. I feel like the portulaca, the snapdragon, and the Sunfinity Double, I feel like those are a pass for me. The ones that I'm actually very interested in, I love an almost black flower. I am really interested in this Petunia Shake Raspberry. That would be very fun to play with because you could put that in a pot and you could pair it with like yellows, raspberry tones, a lot of lime, chartreusey tones. You could even go darker. Actually, that with the navy velour petunia next to it, that would be a great combo too. But here's the one that actually, truth be told, I think is really like mind-blowing. Let's come up here. This Cana, the Canova Gold Leopard, I know I've actually seen that in real life, and that stopped me dead in my tracks. And here's the scoop. I see a lot of plants, and I do mean a lot of plants. So this one, I do have to say, of all of these, the one that I'm really coming back to is this Cana, the Canova Gold Leopard. And typically I wouldn't go for something that looks this showy, but this thing was phenomenal. And like I said, I saw it at Ravenna Gardens and it stopped me dead in my tracks. It was healthy, it was robust, and I thought to myself, this would be spectacular. And I do mean spectacular in a pot. Okay, You guys, I think that's getting my vote. I think it's getting my vote. If I was to do a runner-up, this petunia shake raspberry, that'd be my runner-up. Okay. I'm super curious to see what comes up because I was told that they tell you, like the minute you select it, what the winners are. Okay, here we go. Cana Gold, submit your vote. Oh! Oh my, okay, that is shocking. Okay, oh, that went too fast. Okay, I'm going back here. Okay, there we go. All right, so this is wild. That Calabricoa lemon cherry, okay, I need to go back to that. That's ridiculous. That one, you guys. Okay, no shade because I think Calabricoas are lovely, but I'm so surprised that took such a big portion of the votes. Okay, let's see what else was a winner. Oh, you guys, no one was voting for the Cana Gold Leopard. That is a sleeper hit. That is a sleeper hit. That only got 1.7%. That is a shame. Okay, the Geranium Glory Days Red Orange. I told you that was a winner for me too. The Sunfinity Double Yellow. You guys. Okay. I dissent. I have differing opinions. Okay, moving on to edibles. All right, voting for the edibles here. Let's see what they got. Okay, basil, everleaf lemon. This is the first lemon basil bread for this collection. It is bright lemon flavor, perfect for adding to dressings, marinades, fresh salads. Okay, alrighty. The purple broccoli. Okay, now that's interesting because you never see a purple stem. Oh, there we go. Purple Magic, the first purple stem, purple-headed broccoli in the world. That actually, I do have to say, like that probably took some serious breeding. It's also very high in anthocyanin. It's a flavonoid. Interesting. Okay. All right, next up, Sky Tree, an easy floret with segmented head allowing for easier preparation. Okay, I'm in it for the practicality. A kohlrabi. You guys, if you've never grown kohlrabi, we grew it last year in the garden, and it was so delicious. I love kohlrabi. I feel like this is like an unsung hero of the garden world. We've got some cute peppers, snack size mini pepper, the pepper pumpkin spooky red. That is very cute. That is very cute. I feel like that's one of those peppers that's more ornamental than edible. Holy cow. A Lamuyo type pepper. This pepper red impact. That thing is massive. That's awesome. Then we have a squash green lighting. This is like a patty pan. It is so cute. And then a thriller squash. You know what? This actually really reminds me, if you've never grown a carnival squash, they are so beautiful. And for me, they rival the flavor of like a delicata. They're so good. I think I'm ready to cast my vote. Funny enough, I'm actually going to go for the green lightning squash because that thing is so stinking cute. The other thing that I think is really interesting is it says it has a robust flavor that holds up to added seasoning with a very small seed cavity, which means more delicious edible flesh. And I know that may not seem like a big thing, but for me, when I'm prepping a squash, this is what I want. I don't want a lot of seeds. I want more of that delicious flesh. Okay, you guys, I have a feeling I'm going to be voting for all of the odd ducks. Oh, runner-up. I do have to say my runner-up, I think, is this Purple Magic broccoli, just because it is so unique. And I know that some person out there just put massive and massive amounts of effort into growing this thing. Okay. Let's see how we do. Oh, boom. Okay. The Purple Magic, that definitely took it. The Green Lightning, of course. Let's go back here. The Purple Magic totally took it. I am not surprised at all. And then the Green Lightning squash, maybe I should just pick the least likely to win. No, it's not the least likely to win, but only 5.91%. Okay, super, super interesting. All right, next category. I feel like this is where we are like really getting into it. The perennials. Alrighty, now what I think is also really interesting about this whole thing is that you can click on each one of these submissions. In fact, I'm going to click on this Carrick's Moonfalls because this thing is already getting my attention. And so it gives like the hybrid, obviously, and then it also gives who created this, who grew this variety. And this is Pacific Plug and Liner. This is probably a company you've never heard of, but they do have an insanely large business. And Carrick's Moon Falls. So this, if you've seen me work with Carrick's Feather Falls, there's also one called Ribbon Falls that I work with too. It's in the same family. And so as these kind of like blades come out, they curl it a little bit like a tendril. It is so cute. And this is so funny. They're literally, the Carrick's Moon Falls is a stunning new variety from the same breeder who bought you the popular Feather Falls and Ribbon Falls. Okay, so zero surprise there. And also, if this is the same breeder, this thing is going to be fantastic. It holds up to tons of weather. It is a beautiful form in the garden. It's evergreen. I use it at all times of the year. It is a very good performer. Okay, interesting. Let's go back here. So they've got the perennials. I wonder if this is going to be as robust as the annuals. And I'm kind of like, I am very particular about my perennials. You know, it's so funny, this hellebore, the more I get into hellebores, the more I really appreciate the more rare specimens. So that's probably a pass for me. However, I love a primrose. Now, one thing that is really catching my eye here actually is this rose mallow cookies and cream. This is a hardy hibiscus. What is so interesting about this one is that usually you get yellow in the center or some other like striation, some other color in the throat, which is like that very center part of the flower. I'm not seeing any of that. Yeah, like other dark leaf hardy hibiscus, full sun is necessary to bring out the deepest foliage color, and then it blooms from midsummer until fall. There we go. Each bloom is absent the typical red eye of hardy hibiscus, appearing solid white. Interesting. This is a new Proven Winners. You know, Proven Winners, they actually are super heavy into the hardy hibiscus game. I wonder if I can zoom in on that. That is gorgeous. Okay, secretly, Brian has been dreaming of a garden. It's called a black and white garden. And that would actually be a very, very fun addition. Okay, interesting. So that one is catching my eye, but let's go back and see if there's anything else. Okay, this salvia, that is a great color. I feel like I see a lot of blue salvias, but this one right here, this orange, that one is really impressive. It says ultimately a 24 by 24, heat and drought tolerant, once established, recommended up to zone 7. Let me dig deeper on that. So probably what they mean is hardy down to zone 7. And this looks like that smaller leaf that Hot Lips, all the Graysiais have. Interesting. Okay, I really love it. Okay, this salvia vibe, this is very fun. And actually, you know what I can see this with? I can see this with, well, you can see it with the euphorbia in the background, and honestly, the pot that they put it in. These people are no ninny. They know exactly what they're doing. I would all day, every day, put this with chartreuse foliage, a chartreuse grass, that would be lovely. And pairing it with like a deep purpley blue, like think like an agapanthus, or even some of that allium millennium, that bright, like just vibrant purple, that would be a killer combination in the garden. I would use that salvia all day, every day. That is a workhorse. That is a workhorse. Okay, let's see what else they have. Oh, that was it. Okay. This salvia vibe, honestly, I can see that being applied in so many different ways, which honestly, for me, sometimes when I'm working with a perennial, I don't want a one-hit wonder. I want something that I can like spread throughout the landscape and use it to marry different parts of the garden. I actually totally blew by the Agastache, the summer long. I don't know. I guess it's like dense, mounding. I feel like I have my Agastache favorites. The only other one that I would vote for in this kind of category is the Carrick's Moon Falls. Dang it. Okay. And also, I did love the cookies and cream one. I think it's super duper cute. But I think for me, as a gardener and as a container designer, I'm actually going to come back to this Carex Moon Falls because I know that I would use that in every single container in the fall season, because the only other grass that's like this that has more of that creamy white blade is an Acorus, like the Variegata one. But this is fantastic. All right, I'm going with Moon Falls with Salvia Vibe Ignition Orange as a runner-up. Okay, I have no idea what people are going to vote for. Let's see here. Oh my God, you guys, this is crazy. How did Carex Moon? Oh my gosh. Okay, I need to go back for a second. This is nuts. I do not know how Carex Moon Falls only gathered like 2.49%. I dissent. Who is voting for these things? This is crazy. All right, I can see people love a bright floral. I'm glad that Cookies and Cream got some attention. That was a good one. And then the Salvia Vibe Ignition. That is shocking to me that it only got 3.54%. That is shocking because that sucker was so stinking cute. Okay, you guys, I'm not winning the game here. This is so funny. You know what? I actually wonder if this is a thing with the difference between maybe someone who's just going to the nursery and selecting a plant versus a designer, because I want to know, like, what am I going to pair these things with and how are they going to work in my garden? I don't want just something pretty that I'm going to put in there. It's got to play well with all of its friends, right? So literally, as I was going down and I was selecting each one of those that are my top favorites, which are like the Moon Falls, the Cookies and Cream, and the Salvia Ignition Orange, all three of those, did you notice how I was like, okay, what garden friend am I going to put with it? Is so interesting. I think this is a good takeaway. You always have to think when you're at the garden center, am I attracted to this just because it is pretty and vibrant? But how will it look once I bring it home? You know, is it going to sit in its pot for 2 months because I can't figure out where to put it because it doesn't match anything else in the landscape? Okay, I digress. We're moving on to shrubs. And also, I feel like shrubs, this is a solid category. Shrubs this time of year, you can really tell who has a strong shrub game. And if your landscape feels flat this time of year, I would encourage you to start looking at your shrubs because that's such a game changer. Okay, here we are. Okay, already off the bat, Arborvitae Golden Child, interesting. I have some that I play with that are like this, but we'll hold. Now this azalea, this Autumn Moonstruck, that is interesting to me. That is interesting to me. And I am typically not an azalea girl. I will tell you that much. Let's zoom in on this one. As the first encore azalea variety with variegated foliage, it offers stunning, stable foliage in hues of emerald and chartreuse. Okay, this is really interesting. When it says stable, what happens is sometimes you get this variegated foliage and the plant will freak out and be like, nope, I'm going back to the original. And it will revert to like a straight medium green. So the fact that it calls it out as being stable is kind of a big deal. Okay, super interesting. Holy cannoli. This thing reaches 5 feet high by 4 feet wide when mature. That is actually very large for an azalea. That is really large. All right, okay. That's like a surprise hit, zone 7 to 10. All right, I'm going to swing on. That's decent. That's very decent. And they love the sun. What the heck? All right, I'm shocked. I'm shook, as the kids say. Burning bush. No comment. You guys, I can't do a burning bush. I can't do it. It looks good for like 3 weeks, and then the rest of the year you've got a green blob. My opinion, I fall in love with them for 3 weeks, and then I fall out of love with them hard the rest of the year. Okay. Ooh, okay, hydrangea territory. You guys, this was a big year for hydrangeas. I feel like it's a better year than last year for new introductions. So we have the Fairy Trail Green, we have the Hydrangea Flowerful Smooth, and we have the Seaside Serenade Pebble Beach. All 3 of these I am bananas over. Now the Seaside Serenade series, this has been a really strong contender for me in a lot of landscapes that I do. This particular one, this Pebble Beach, she is gorgeous. And I know just from my own personal work experience, this is a Monrovia concoction, and all of the Seaside Serenade series perform really well. I've been using them a ton. The Hydrangea Flowerful, this one is actually put out by Bailey's, although I wonder if it's first editions here. Yeah, Bailey Nursery. So Bailey's, they've got a big nursery out of Oregon, and they do a fantastic job with all of their growing. They did the Eclipse Hydrangea last year that performed really well. This one is interesting to me because I feel like 3 to 4 feet tall, so it's a really good size for like an urban garden. And this is the same kind of arborescence habit as my classic love, the Annabelle hydrangea. But Annabelle gets really big and then she flops. This one does not flop. Okay, that is very good. I feel like this one you can use everywhere. The Fairy Trail Green, this is not one that I've known. This is Spring Meadow Nursery. Oh, interesting. They're with Proven Winners. I really love a green hydrangea. I really do. I think it is so sweet. It is so soft. Let's see here, zones 6 to 9 and 3 to 4 feet tall and wide. Interesting. Heat tolerant and adaptable to clay. No kidding. Okay, moving on to the next line. This is interesting. They threw a red bud in here, and so it's in the shrub category, which I don't know that I agree with, but it's a compact Cereus tree, and I will tell you, I have contemplated putting one of these in a container. It actually, for whatever reason, this tree does really well in confined spaces. There are two other things on this little line here. We have a rose brickhouse orange. This thing is tiny. It's like 1.5 feet high by 2.5 feet wide. So I would probably treat this like a flower carpet rose. Those are really pretty. But the only one here that is actually on this line that's really capturing my attention is this rhododendron. It's called Bloombuck's Blush. And I honestly can't tell you the last time a new variety of rhododendron hit the market and I was like, look at this rhodie. But this is interesting. In fact, I'm going to zoom in on this one because it doesn't actually look like a rhodie to me. It almost looks like a hebe or like a Weigela or something like that. It's very, very cool. Okay, so this one is actually put out by a company that I've been following for a little bit. They're called Bloom and Easy. And this company is super duper interesting. They are a smaller company. They're based out of Canada, but the whole ethos of the company is they just put out easy care plants. They just put out things that are going to bloom, they're going to perform, and you don't need to worry about them in your landscape, which actually I really love, especially if you're busy. So this one, it flowers with a pink blush, which I love. And they are advertising this as a boxwood hedge alternative, which if you're in an area of the country where you have boxwood blight, now this would be a good option. This isn't going to be like for a standard boxwood. This is going to be like your true dwarf boxwood because it really only gets like 18 to 24 inches high. But this thing is cute. Look at that when you zoom in on it. That thing is adorable. Okay, that is really interesting. And the fact that it's a pollinator supporting flower. Okay, that's very cool too. Let me go back to the previous page. Oh, that's it. Okay. This is where it's going to get really hard. The ones that I think I feel like we frequently see hydrangeas come out. I feel like there's always a new hydrangea. However, the two that I think are really outside the box are this Moonstruck Azalea and this rhododendron, this Bloombuck's Blush. Those two for me are super unique. I feel like we see a lot of hydrangeas. There's 8 million to choose from, but these two are really standouts. So here's what I'm going to do. Of these three, all three of these hydrangeas, I'm telling you right now, you can use in any landscape, from English garden to modern to anywhere in between, And all three of these have a place, and I can see myself using every single one of these. The color that I think is super interesting is the Seaside Serenade, the Pebble Beach. That entire series is really good. However, the Flowerful, it offers such a good solution to an issue that I have when I'm planting gardens. Okay. But then we have the Moonstruck, and we have this Bloom Box. I can't even tell you the last time someone brought out a rhododendron that piqued my interest, honestly. Okay. All that having been said, here's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to choose the Bloom Box as my number one, knowing that it might not be what everyone chooses, but I think it solves a lot of issues in the landscape. If I'm going to choose a colorful runner-up, though, you guys, I think I'm going to go with the Seaside Serenade Pebble Beach. That thing is so stinking cool. I love that color. I love that color. Okay. All right, you guys, I'm casting my vote. I'm going to do the rhododendron. The Seaside Serenade Pebble Beach is my runner-up. I think, honestly, any one of those hydrangeas is going to take it. But for me, I think it is so impressive that someone has brought something new on the scene with regard to a rhodie. It's also our state flower. Okay, let's see what we got. Oh, interesting. This is This is really interesting, you guys. I am so curious about what these people, where these people are coming from. Okay, first of all, I'm actually really surprised the Arborvitae, the Golden Child, got as many as it did. The Burning Bush, who is voting for that thing? That's what I want to know. Who's out there voting for it? I mean, I hate to throw shade on a plant, but that's just not doing it. The Flowerful, not surprised. I knew that any one of these hydrangeas would be taking home a big chunk of the vote. I am shook, though, that the Red Bud got as many votes as it did. I thought that was one of the least interesting. And Brickhouse Rose Orange, or what do they call it? Rose Brickhouse Orange. It's a great selection, but I don't feel like it's earth-shattering. How is the rhododendron coming in dead last? Because that sucker is awesome. The Azalea Moonstruck, I'm glad it got 5%. Flowerful, well-earned. That's a fabulous one. That Seaside Serenade Pebble Beach, though, that coloring, that's sensational. You do not come across a lot of hydrangeas with that volume of blue and violet vibrancy. Okay. I don't know whether I'm delighted and tickled or kind of irritated. Okay. All right. Voting for houseplants. You guys, I'm not a houseplant girl, says the girl with a houseplant behind her. I need a bulletproof houseplant. So we've got a hydrangea, a monstera, a philodendron. That's it? Okay. I do have to say, I like the orange in the philodendron, this Prismacolor with the orange. That is super interesting right in the middle. But you guys, I'm a monstera. This Thai constellation, this thing is beautiful. And I don't know that I can get behind a hydrangea in the house. It's just not my jam. Let's zoom in on this. That is beautiful. Okay, monstera takes it. This is not even a monstera, although I'm going to die if this thing comes in last. Dude, how did the philodendron win? Okay. This is wild, you guys. All right, last but not least, we have garden products. Okay. We have, Crescent Gardens. Their 2 circular positive planter collection. Then we have Ground Grabba Tree Hugger Kit and Jenny's edition. So I don't know if you guys know Jenny from Creekside Nursery. She's kind of an OG. She's been in the game a really long time. She's a nursery owner. She did this power planter edition of her auger, a 5-inch. It's very cool. I feel like it's been out a long time though. These tree huggers, these ground grabbers, these are fantastic if you are trying to anchor a tree. Really like these. Again, I don't know if they're groundbreaking for me. However, here's what I will I will be voting for, and I know I'll be voting for, and the reasons why. So this is the crescent planter. It is this is like one of those self-watering containers. You know them, you've seen them. I've used them extensively. I've used them in shady areas. I've used them in blistering heat, and they've performed beautifully. The reason I'm voting for this is because this is the very first time I have seen a company create these planters, which are like, they're like a resin, they're like a plastic, right? But they're upcycled from landfill waste. So it says this bio-based thermoplastic reduces carbon and methane emissions. Okay, at the end of the day, we have so much plastic in the world, and the fact that they are doing something with actual landfill waste, this gets my vote every day of the week, because without like these progressive steps, like, I don't know, I don't mean to go on a tirade, but I love that they're upcycling landfill waste. Okay, all right, that's getting my vote. Let's see what happens. Okay, second place. I'm going to take the second place. I'm going to take it. Jenny's auger. It's a great auger. I feel like we've seen augers time and time again. And actually, it is on my wish list to get a new auger this year, because I would like one where I can stand up more straight when I'm like auging, especially for bulbs and everything. I also discovered the limits of my personal auger, which when you're doing like a giant allium bulb, I do need more dimension. But this crescent planter, I'm surprised it didn't get more votes, because I do think they're doing something really groundbreaking here. I think it's a big deal. Okay, friends, this was really fun. I hope you've enjoyed seeing all the new goodies that are coming on the market. And I was actually really surprised by some of the choices and the votes that were cast. Actually, I'm really surprised. And I kind of wonder, like, when you're looking at new things, like, what are you looking for? I'm such a classic gardener. Sometimes those like tried and true plants that have been around for decades and generations, I love so much, and they'll always have a place. But I do love to kind of like stretch my wings a little bit and see what's new and fun to play with out there. I'm definitely a person who, I don't always go for the shiny. I like something that I know I can use and it's going to perform, and I like to know how I'm going to play with it in my garden. So comment down below. I want to know what surprised you, what were you not surprised by, and also what were your picks? What caught your eye? I think this is really darn fun. I feel like we should do it again next year. Okay, I'll see you in the next one. Say hello to your garden for me.